So we have a slightly modified problem statement. This time we have the customer IDs, customer name, segment, and the sales amount. We have three customer IDs with us and we are expected to find out the sales amount. Now at a quick glance, you can see that 140, 162, and 127, all the three are present in the original data set. So we don't really expect any problems to come, right? So we write equal to VLOOKUP. G4 is our lookup value. Our table array is, I'm going to select the entire column B, C, D, and E. My result is going to be in column number 4, and the type of match is going to be false. So 140 is the customer ID and 667 is the sales amount. So we're getting the result. But when we copy it into the next two cells, you notice that 127 is coming perfectly, which is 147. But then what's going wrong with the second ID, 162? If you notice, 162 is also present in our data set. The reason the result is coming as an error is because there is a data type mismatch. So the 162 that is there in our original data set is a number, but the 162 that we are searching for, our lookup value, is in a text format. Now, a lot of you are habitual to simply clicking on this notification and then converting the number stored as text to a number, and the result comes. Now, while there's nothing wrong with this approach, this is highly, highly unreliable. The reason is because sometimes the error is not even shown to you. So when you look at the data set, a user will not understand that the 162 was in an incorrect format. But then how do you fix it? To understand this, let's first see how you can convert a number stored as a text. As you can see, when I put an apostrophe and I write 100, this converts the number 100 into a text. So if you notice, equal to sum will come as 0. How do you convert it into a number? There are two ways of doing this. If you multiply it by 1, then it gets converted to a number. So if you notice, I can simply go back and multiply G4, which is my lookup value, with the number 1, and it works perfectly. So you notice that 162, the ID is giving us a result 509, which is sales, despite the fact that the data type of this and this is not matching. Now, what will happen when you're needlessly multiplying the other numbers with 1? It doesn't matter, because in any case, multiplying a number with 1 will give us the same result. But I don't like this approach because multiplying with 1 is like a calculation, right? And if you are sending this file out to a user, they might get very confused, wondering why have you multiplied a number with 1? So a slightly better way of doing this is to use the function called value. And if you look at the description, it says it converts a text string that represents a number to a number. That means that if I use value on 100, which has been saved as a text data type, it will get converted into a number. So very simple. Now, rather than writing G4 into 1, we can say value G4. And if you notice, we are getting the correct result. Now, do remember that using a value function has no relevance if your lookup value was a text value. For example, if you were looking for a customer name, like we were doing in the previous lectures, then there is no concept of using a value because we're not working with numbers at all. This only comes into effect when you're working with customer ID numbers or purchase order numbers or maybe HSN codes, anything which is a pure number format. Also, this will not work the other way around. As an example, if 127 was a number here, but in our original dataset it was in a text format, this will result in an error. And unfortunately, there is nothing we can do to our dataset right now, that means to our formula right now, to be able to look and fix something in the reverse direction. We will do this in a lecture that comes later, but just as a note, please remember, the value will only work when your lookup value is in an incorrect format, where you're assuming that the original dataset is in a correct format. But if you're not sure if your original dataset in itself is in a correct format, then you will have to use a slightly different approach.